All right, welcome to Overs and Unders. We've done a strategy like this before in the past, and we're not going to get any context when it comes to story problems. So that can cause a little bit of a struggle. So the very first one that we're going to try is 660 divided by 10. All right, so some of you may have realized this was just 66, right? 660 divided by 10. When we divide by 10 and multiply by 10, it's a simpler thing. Now, if I wanted to use this information in a ratio table, because all of these problems are going to build on one another, and we're going to try and use the same ratio table, how would I put that answer into a ratio table? So that number 66, how could I put that into a ratio table? Where would it go? And what number would be below it? So what number would be on top of the ratio table? What number would be below it? Well, this is what I think, and this is what you should think too. It would be 66 over 1. All right, that's the ratio we're looking at. Why? Because 66 is that whole number. So this is like 66 divided by 1. 66 divided by 1 equals 66. So if we wanted to start and show the work that we did, we can have, to show 660, I multiply by 10, and I multiply by 10 here, and now all of a sudden I have 660 divided by 10. All right, so we're going to start using this information to help ourselves figure out some of these other problems. So what's the second problem I want you to work on? And again, use this ratio table, add to it as you see fit. The second problem that we're going to work on right now is 594 divided by 66. Again, how can we use what we've been using so far to help us solve this problem? All right, so did you notice that if I subtract this 66 from 660, I'm going to get 594. And so that means I'm going to be subtracting one group from my 10 to get to 9. So 594 divided by 66 is going to give us 9 groups. All right, what's the next problem? It is 726 divided by 66. All right, so the next one that we're looking at is this idea of 726. All right, did you notice that 726 is 66 more than 660? So that means that this would be one group more than the 10. So that would mean 11. So 726 divided by 66 would give us 11. So what does that mean? That means when we're looking at a problem, one of the things we should be thinking about is what are some over or unders, okay, that we can get around to that are simpler for us to think about and simpler for us to calculate. So this was, right, if we were doing this original table originally, we would have 66 over 1. We'd be multiplying by 10 to get to 660, and then we would be adding one more group to get to that 726. All right, so we want to use calculations that are a little simpler for us to help ourselves get to that answer. Let's look at what the next problem is. The next problem is 132 divided by 66. All right, so what was the relationship between 132 and 66? Hopefully what you realize is it's just a double. All right, so 132 divided by the 66, that's going to keep that ratio the same. Our answer is 2. So 2 groups of 66 equals 132. The next one is 1,320 divided by 66. All right, so how did we get to 1,320 from 132? Hopefully you notice that. That's just increasing by a factor of 10 or multiplying by 10. So that means that our answer, can multiply this by 10 to get to 20. So 20 groups of 66 get us to 1,320. So that means 1,320 divided by 66 equals 20. Let's see what's next. What about 1,386 divided by 66? All right, so we have our 1,386. We're trying to find how many groups of 66 are in there. Well, what could we use that's already on this ratio table to help us? Okay, hopefully you realize that we would just need to add 66 to 1,320. And so that means we're just adding one group of 66. So that means 21 groups of 66 are in 1,386. So again, if we were presented with this problem, 1,386 divided by 66 without any of the work, we want to think through that. Okay, well, what's 10? Oh, that's 660. What's 20 of that? Oh, that's 1,320. So I got close, and now I just have 66 more, which I know is one group. All right, let's see what is next. It is 1,254 divided by 66. All right, so what can we use on here to figure out 1,254? That would be 1,320. Why? Well, I'm pretty sure it's 66 away, isn't it? So here, if I remove one group of 66, I'm going to get to 1,254. So that means if I remove one of these groups, that's going to get me to 19. So that means if I'm looking at how many groups of 66 are in 1,254, the answer is 19. Let's see what's next. What about 6,600 divided by 66? All right, if I see this number, 66, right? That's 66, and I see some zeros, I know it has to be a multiple of 10, right? So this is simply 66 times, not 10, because that gives us to 660, but 100. So it's 100 groups of 66 are in 6,600. Let's see what's next. Oh, I didn't get all the way down. 6,468 divided by 66. What do we need to use to help us understand 6,486? What number is back here? You're right, it says 132, because if we remove 132, that will get us to 6,486. So how many groups of 66 are we removing? Well, 2. So that means 98 groups of 66 equals 6,486. All right, so you have reached the end of this problem string. Now it's time to reflect and to transfer, to try a problem on your own, to try and use this information. So you're going to click below, I can't remember which way I'm supposed to go. It's one of those ways. I think it's backwards. So I think it's like this. I might be wrong. So you're going to click on that little check mark, and that'll take you to the forum so that you can practice this and see how it goes. All right. Bye, everybody.